Hi, good evening, fellow Singaporeans, voters of Punggol East. I wonder why is this called even Punggol East? This is a joke. Why? Because it's not located in Punggol. This is PAP's gerrymandering. They cut constituencies to favor themselves. And they call it a name which suits them. However, this, I would call it a better appropriate name would be Rivervale Constituency or Sengkang East, as this is located in Sengkang. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
I would like to hit out strong on certain ministers who are paid millions of dollars, highest paid in the world. However, they have failed Singapore and Singaporeans. Let me give you one example. I do not want to mention names. However, a certain minister who was paid millions of dollars, who is still in our current cabinet, what they are telling us is Punggol East residents would vote more on local Punggol East constituency-based issues and not national issues. This is a joke because Singapore is an island. Singapore is not as big as the United States, or Singapore is not as big as India or China, where one issue does not affect the other. I give you an example. Last week, the northeast line, the purple line, broke down. 3,000 or 30,000 to 60,000 commuters were affected. The downtime was almost the whole day. The MRT has broke down. Is the minister telling me that this is a national issue which does not affect Punggol East residents? This is the biggest joke I've heard from a minister so far. They are trying to throw smoke screen. Transport issues, lack of feeder service in Punggol East. What the Reform Party is suggesting is to not just have SBS Transit and SMRT, is to allow privately owned bus companies to operate feeder services here so that you have better service of transport. Similarly, in Parliament, in the GE 2011 elections, you would have heard the theory between the driver and the co-driver. The driver is falling asleep. The co-driver is needed to slap the driver awake. But it appears right now, the driver is falling asleep and the co-driver is also falling asleep. That's why we need the Reform Party to come in. We need Mr. Kenneth Jeyaratnam to come in and knock the heads of both the driver and the co-driver. Residents here who are gathered here, do you agree with me on this? Last 12 years, the year right now is 2013. Do you know what do we lack in Parliament? We have had opposition MPs in the form of Mr. Low Tia Kiang, non-stop from 1991 all the way now. However, for the last 12 years, ever since 2001 up to now, we have lacked a presence of a Jeyaratnam in Parliament. We need a Jeyaratnam presence in Parliament, it appears. The last name the PAP wants to hear in Parliament is the name of a Jeyaratnam. And that's why Singapore and Singaporeans, voters of Punggol East constituency, you have got to cast your vote for another Jeyaratnam after 12 years. Mr. Kenneth Jeyaratnam, the son of J.B. Jeyaratnam. Next thing I want to hit out on is the cost of HDB. Having a roof over our head, it's a need, it's a necessity to live in Singapore. It is not a luxury. However, the cost of HDB keeps on increasing. And mind you, this is public housing. It is not freehold property. The Reform Party has made a suggestion in 2011 to allow Singaporeans to own HDB, to make HDB freehold for Singaporeans. However, right now, it is still 99-year lease, which also means that you do not own your HDB. We are all long-term tenants of HDB. Yet, we are paying $300,000 for the cheapest HDB. Cost in the resale market is going up. You are paying $300,000. You are paying monthly mortgages for 30 years. 30 to 35 years. You are paying and paying and paying monthly just to have a house, just to have a roof over your head. And the minister in charge can still come out and daringly tell you that HDB is affordable. Is this a joke? Let me ask everyone who is present here, is HDB affordable? You are paying 30 years loan. This affects young couples who are getting married, settling down, buying new houses in order to start a family. And the minister in charge of national development and HDB, he can come and tell you that HDB is affordable. We ask ourselves, is this true? That is why we need the Reform Party in Parliament to keep a check of our government and their policies, to make sure that Singaporeans really benefit. Let me ask you, for transportation as well, similarly, the cost is going up. Every day, you have to take buses and MRT to work. The service seems to be going down the drain. MRTs are getting crowded during peak hours. Buses are crowded. The service is very bad. But yet, they want to increase the price. They want to increase bus fare. Is this fair for you, the citizens of Singapore and voters of Punggol East? This is why we need proper accountability. We need transparency. And we need proper checks. We need to keep the government in check so that they do not suka-suka come up with policies without consultation. They consult with you before coming up with policies.